Hey guys, message 2. I'm still with Dr. Raghu. We are doing our weekend walk run. And message 2, and today's date is what? Today is February 8th?
February 6th.
6th, February 6th, one day before Super Bowl. And February 6th, 2021, message 2. And Raghu, you had, talked a little bit. You've been, how many seasons you've been running with us?
So hi runners, I'm actually running, this will be my fourth season.
Fourth season you've been running with us, and I'm sure you had your lots of ups and downs, right?
Totally,
Right?
quite a bit.
Yeah. So tell me, what was one of the toughest part of your, last 4 seasons?
So, there are numerous, challenges that I faced during these 4 seasons. The one that stands out, the one that comes out to my mind at the onset is coming back from an injury, Bala. As you know, that I was training very well I think it was in my second season.
Yeah.
I was training very well, had an injury, fell down, and it took me 3-4 weeks. I lost momentum, and coming back from that injury was one of the, in spite of listening to all your advice,
that was a difficult part.
That was a difficult part. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely.
I can totally relate to that, and it's. Let me give you some thoughts on that. I'm sure all of
Bala.
everybody has the same issue. Why don't you hold the camera so that I can talk easier? So coming back from a short-term break, if you think, first of all, when you're in the short-term break, if you think you're the only one who is facing this, and God has been unkind to you, fate has been, all kinds of these bad thoughts might go through it, when you see the whole world is running around you, especially when you're in this motivating group like this, when you've been working hard for 7 weeks, you've hit all the metrics, you've done so well, you see improvements day in and day out, your splits are getting better, and you're getting all kinds of PRs every week, and then suddenly boom, you have an injury, or you have to go to India, or something else happens, illness, and you are not able to do it. So next 3 weeks you are done. It's not a long-term injury I'm talking about, like in Raghu's case. He had some small fall or something, and for 2-3 weeks he was out.
Rib fracture.
Yeah, he had a rib fracture. So it was not. It's not a big thing, but it's still not such a small thing that he had to stop running for a good amount of 4-5 weeks. Couldn't do.
Exactly.
5 weeks he couldn't do. So think about it. The first thing that happens in these 4-5 weeks is that there is a mindset morass happens, because you see that your world is running around you. You see that running is a very positive feedback thing, right? And especially when you're doing well for the last 6 weeks, suddenly if you take out running out of your life becomes very depressing, very, very depressing.
True.
I'm sure you felt
True.
it.
And especially seeing other runners run and you not doing anything.
Yeah, it
and
feels doubly frustrating.
Exactly.
So it's depressing, it's frustrating, so it's a negative spiral.
Correct.
While running could be a beautiful positive spiral, running can quickly turn into a negative spiral too, because you're not doing it.
Totally.
Right? All those positive hormones are not flowing through you, and your body get stuck.
Correct.
Or you cannot change that, right? So what I want to say first thing is you got to accept it first. It all starts with acceptance. You can't do anything. When you can't do anything, you just start accepting it. The minute you accept that, okay, I am into a trouble, I cannot do it, let me accept it, you will feel calmer. That is the first step. If you don't do that, you will never be calm. Second thing you need to realize is that you are not the only one in this world who has experienced this. Okay? Every long distance endurance runner, trainer will have a very similar experience at least once or twice in their sort of 2-3 times. If they train for half marathon, at least once or twice they'll experience this. And there's no doubt about it. Like Raghu experienced once, I must have experienced a couple of times. In fact, today is a good example. Right now I'm walking, this is my long run, okay? But last 4 days I haven't run because I was feeling a little sick, and I was feeling very weak and all that, just a regular fever, no COVID or anything, just a regular fever, and feeling totally drained. 4 days I didn't run. Now I'm back to long run. So it's not as bad as Raghu's in 4 weeks, but still 4 days of running, not running, coming back. I have to now again apply some first principles to get back. That's really the point that Raghu was asking.
Exactly.
Why it is difficult, how to come back. So that's point number 2. Everybody faces it. Realize that you're not the only one in this world who is facing it. That will also help you a little bit in calming you down. Now let's talk about first principles. what is the first principles of coming back? Think about your own self when you started your running career. What was the first principles? First principles, if you remember, was hitting that 21-day mark. Getting back to the shape, getting back into a certain habit. I told you 21 days was your first milestone, right? In this case, since you've already done 5 days, it's not 21 days anymore. The good news is 3 days. Your goal is getting back to a momentum of 3 days. 3 consecutive days of running. That will get you back to mental and physical, habitual part of the run it will get you. So all you're thinking is, man, I lost it out for 4 days, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I've lost the momentum, little bit of inertia is built up, laziness is built up. You don't have the enthusiasm to put on the shoe and get out. But when you think about that from the perspective of, oh God, I have to now train for the next 10 weeks, you will not do it. But when you think about it for just 3 days, all you have to do it for is for 3 days, you might be able to do it. That is point number 3. Think of it as a 3-day milestone that you have to cross when you're coming back. Point number 4. Remember, cardiovascular health, it takes some time to build. So that's the negative side. It takes some time to build. The positive side is once it is built, it takes some time for you to lose it. Correct. Just because you're out for 4 weeks doesn't mean that cardiovascular system has gone back to ground zero when you started the training time. Because imagine for 20 years you haven't done anything. Correct. So it took you about 2, 3, 4 weeks to build the cardiovascular strength to wherever you are. Now let's say you had a 2-3 week break. It doesn't mean that you go back to where you were 20 years before. It'll basically take you just 1 or 2 days to get you back to the normal. You should know that. First run will be difficult, no doubt. But by the third run, you are on top of your game again. This I've seen it again and again. So cardiovascular strength getting back is quite easy when you're already in a nice training regimen. So you have to have that experience. You have to have that strength. And I don't know, as a doctor, Raghu, you have any comments to add in terms of getting your cardiovascular strength back quickly?
Oh, Bala, you nailed it. I think every point in this that discussion and your thoughts have been to the point. It definitely takes, as Bala correctly mentioned, losing it, you won't lose it completely, but it does, you have to ease into the cardiovascular health, because you might feel that when you come back to run, your heart rate might be a little off. That's one of the key factors that I like to look at it, is to watch my Garmin and maintain my heart rate. So that usually tells me about my whole cardiovascular fitness. So you might not to get deterred or get concerned about your high heart rate. Oh, I'm actually doing it. I see a lot of runners commenting about their heart rate. It's going to come back because you have acquired this over a period of time, and definitely you're not going to lose it that quickly. But yes, easing into this run and getting back within a few days to, every person is different. Some it could be a couple of days, couple of runs. Some it could be like 1 to 2 weeks, but eventually you'll all get it back.
Well, absolutely. And then the last point I want to make here is that when you're back, when you're coming back, don't worry about what I call it as a strength runs. That means the hill runs, the stride runs, the sprints. All those things are called as strength runs. If you think about it as a pyramid, you have a base, and then the base is the base pace run, and then you have those strength runs on top of the base, and then you have the top part of the pyramid, which is the actual race day. That's how our training structure is. So when you come back from a break, forget about the strength runs, even if it is there in the schedule. Focus back on the brilliant basics, which is the base pace run. So when you come back, 3 days, 4 days, whatever number I told you, come back and do just base pace runs. Even if I had given you a 4-mile stride, you come back and do 4-mile base pace. Okay. So in summary, guys, how I would like to say this, great question from Dr. Raghu about how to come back, is that first is the acceptance that it is a tough thing. When you can't do anything about it and you have to face it, better accept it. Once you accept it, you will feel much peaceful, and you will be able to not have so many frustrations and desperations and those kind of things. Step 1. Step 2, know that you are not the only person who is experiencing this. Tons of people, everyone will experience this at some point of their sort of endurance run training career. Now, that is why endurance run is special. If all these things were not there, every Tom, Dick and Harry would do an endurance run. right? The reason why endurance run is only 1% and 2% of the US population is because it takes commitment, resilience to come back from these kind of setbacks and still do it. So it takes some time, takes mental strength, physical strength. That's what we are doing. That is what we are doing. So every time you have a dip, think of it as now is the time for you to build mental strength, okay, and resilience. So that was item number 2. Item number 3, 3-day mark, not 21-day mark, because you know that the CV strength that you've built up will come back to you roaring back quite quickly. Item number 4, forget about any strength runs, just do CP runs and then keep pinging me. I am there to help. Pinging the group is there to help, because we all understand how difficult it is to come back, and how amazing it is that once you come back, how amazing it is to feel once you come back to normal. So thank you, Raghu, for a wonderful question and setting up this message.